The year is 1914, and the El Paso and Southwestern Railroad Company offered to construct a new hospital, or a YMCA, in exchange for granting a right-of-way into town. Wisely, Tucson made the correct choice, and a saloon located at 125 West Congress was soon torn down to make room for the very first Y. Initially, the Y served those men 18 years of age and older who were in good evangelical standing. But today, it serves the entire community, regardless of race, creed, or religion. In 1920, annual membership dues were a whopping $3, and the Y's first swimming program was born. In 1930, the Knothole Club was established, which allowed members to attend U of A football games. Y Summer Camp was held in 1931 in the Chiricahua Mountains. And by 1935, the Y's summer program was in full swing. For $15, boys got to spend 2 full weeks in the mountains. The Y had now grown to the point where a new building was needed, so the board began working on their first major fundraising campaign. During the war, the Y provided lodging for enlisted men at $1 a month. Of course, officers paid more, $2 a month. By 1942, the Y was providing free programs and extended hours for servicemen. The Y even offered Americanization or citizenship classes for those seeking to become American citizens. In 1945, servicemen were returning home in record numbers, and many of them wanted to stay at the Y. In the month of January alone, 837 men slept on cots in the Y's gymnasium. Once the war ended, the Y quickly became a leader in the battle for racial equality, and the organization was desegregated 18 years before the federal government finally caught up in 1964. In 1948, led by Roy Drachman and Jack Sakrison, the Y began a dedicated effort to raise funds for a new building to be constructed at 5th Avenue and 6th Street. Building costs were estimated to be $550,000. In 1948, Miss Elizabeth Wood donated the Crooked G Ranch outside of Oracle to the Y to be used as a summer camp for boys. By 1951, the camp was serving over 400 boys. During this time, the popular Father and Son Indian Guide program was also introduced. By 1949, the board had raised over $425,000 toward construction of a new and bigger Y, but by 1952, when construction was to begin, costs had escalated to over $950,000. So in 1953, the board authorized taking out a loan from Southern Arizona Bank. The new Central Y was dedicated on October 4th, and the swim team won 24 firsts in the city swimming championships. That summer, the camp served over 1,000 boys. Growth came quickly to Tucson and the Y in the 1950s, and in 1954 the Lighthouse Y was opened on the southwest corner of 5th and Dodge. That year, the YMCA, YWCA, and Junior League also collaborated on a drop-in program called Teen Canteen that served over 300 kids each week. The 50s and 60s were a period of rapid growth and transition for the Y. Additional branches were opened, including the Southside Y on South 6th Avenue and branches on the east and north sides of town. In 1974, the city of Tucson entered into an operating agreement whereby the Y would provide quality recreational programs for the entire community. Today, the Y has increased its membership to more than 57,000 and operates 4 full YMCA branches, 5 program centers, and nearly a dozen school-based sites. And even though the Y started out as a Christian organization, it welcomes everyone and will never turn a kid away due to an inability to pay. In fact, nearly 25% of Y members receive some sort of financial assistance.
As you just seen, for 100 years, the YMCA has been serving Southern Arizona's spirit, mind, and body thanks to the leadership and passion of thousands of dedicated Y volunteers and staff. In honor of the Y's 100th anniversary, we have created a YMCA Hall of Fame to honor the people, groups, and organizations that have helped shape us into the Y we are proud to call ourselves today.
I married the YMCA. That is a fact. My husband's grandfather, L.A. Lohse, was instrumental in bringing the Y to Tucson back in 1914.
I started using the Y when I was about 8 years old. I was in today's vernacular, a latchkey kid. I was an only child. My parents had a jewelry store downtown. I used to come downtown. I'd go to the Y.
I remember very vividly being part of the Y's Indian Guides program, where we actually put little feathers in your head and went out by the campfire and learned about Native American customs and culture and bonded with your dad.
My father abandoned me when I was very young, 2 years old. I never really knew my father. Most of my Y experiences were scholarshiped. I was one of the kids that program, the Star Run, send a kid to camp. I was one of those kids. And it was a respite for me. It was a way to get away for the summer. Introduced me to a lot of activities that I'm still fond of today. But moreover, it introduced me to people who ultimately employed me.
You don't realize how many people you meet through a nonprofit organization. You meet people and leaders all over the city, and those leaders then become contacts and ties for business and for just benefits that you don't ever realize.
Goodness gracious, so many people I've gotten to meet and be friends with and interconnect with.
The Y is one of the few places in town that you can go, have a good educational experience, learn to make friends, get some exercise, become part of a team.
It's no longer just a kids organization taking care of the kids. It now is an organization that takes care of everybody from the cradle to the grave.
It goes to the old slogan, body, mind, and spirit. That's what we're taking care of in numerous ways.
People in regards to the YMCA, they think about a workout facility or they think of a basketball league, but it's amazing when you get down to the brass tacks of what the YMCA does for the Tucson community. It's amazing.
Its mission has changed more to deal with the times, and obesity and diabetes are things that are really important these days and need to be kept under control.
I think kids are wonderful, and they're probably our greatest asset, and we don't do enough to develop those assets. And when a kid gets the opportunity to participate in YMCA programs and the camp, it's just so special because I know it changes their lives.
They get to see birds, they get to see animals, they get to go on hikes, they have some overnights, and they have to get along with each other and make do for whether it's a week or 2 weeks or however long they go for. And so I think this is an experience that most children who live in a city don't ever get to experience.
And when you get a letter from a kid who has been to the YMCA camp in Oracle and it's the only vacation they've ever had in their life, it really does get you choked up and emotional about it.
To be selected for an award like this it really is a very nice feeling, because I think all of us who do things for charitable organizations don't do it for the plaudits that you get for doing it. You do it because you like to do these things and you think it might be of some benefit.
To be part of the Hall of Fame means the world to me because, again, if you look at the makeup of the Metro YMCA, there are people that have been here for decades, and they've really put their heart, their soul, their finances towards the Y because they believe in it so much.
I was totally shocked and surprised that I got a letter saying that I was one of the 100 people that were going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I thought, why are they calling on me? Because I haven't done anything for the YMCA in a long time.
It's an honor, and I'm very humbled by it.
I'm thrilled. To have been involved with the Y, I've done as much as I can, to be helpful, especially to the Y camp.
Being recognized as a contributor to its success is a very nice thing to have happen.
And I'm very pleased to have the honor, and I do feel it is an honor.
The YMCA is a very special entity to start with, and to be given or bestowed an honor like that is very humbling to me. I really appreciate it, and I'm very humbled about it.
It was a big honor. It really is. I'm very grateful and privileged to have been able to give to the Y like I have.